year that Prime Minister Trudeau and his Indian Affairs Minister Jean Chrétien came out with what they called the White Paper. And the White Paper was a way for the federal government to make all of us equal to everybody else, to strip our land away from us and to strip our status away from us, to take our identity away and to take our land. That was the goal. That's always been the goal of the Canadian state. In 1969 was a massive time for our people. A lot of people came together and they fought back. And that's when they created the CANSI, the Union of BC Indian Chiefs, the Native Brotherhood, the Native Indian Brotherhood, the Indian Homemakers were already around.
Right. All
these organizations grew together because they wanted to stand up and unite back against the government, against the White Paper in '69. But they didn't just have to go against the government at that time. They also had to go against the Canadians at that time. Today, how many years later is this now?
43.
43 years later. But the difference today, and there's a big difference today. There's a lot more of us to start with. We're very young. We're very young compared to the Canadian population. Almost 80% of us don't live on reservations. We live in the urban or the rural off-reservation. And we have this wonderful thing called the internet, social media. And the young people know how to use social media. So, '69, the White Paper was a time of us all coming together. Here we are in 2012, and it started 2013, and now we have a lot of support from the settlers, the immigrants, right across actually the world now, what's been happening. Why? Well, because, and this is a very important thing for people to consider, because it's very interesting, and I don't want to do all the talking. Please, anybody just jump in, because it's really, I'm not the expert. I think we're all the experts, so jump in anytime. But one of the things that's really important, which many people don't think about, is that the Canadian state has always, from its inception, when Canada became a nation in 1867, has always tried to get rid of the identity, i.e. the person, and then your rights to your land and resources. They've changed it. They've changed the method. And so what we see, what happened with the conservatives, the corporate conservatives, when they got in, they told us they were going to do this if they got into government. They told us.
They were going to do what?
That they were going to put in this very archaic legislation against Indigenous people. We knew this before the election.
This is why you're supposed to vote.
This is what I'm going to get to. Yeah.
Always see. You can't complain if you don't vote.
Because that's a very good point. Because that's exactly where I was going to go. What people don't realize is that in the last federal election, only 2 out of 10 Canadians, eligible voters, voted for Harper. Only 2 out of 10 eligible voters. 2 out of 10. Now, why that is that if you look at everybody in Canada who had the right to vote in the last election, only 60% of Canadians voted. The other 40% stayed home. So of the ones who voted, only 2 out of 10 eligible voters gave Harper a majority government. Now what does a majority government mean? It means if I have more people than you, I can do almost anything I want. I can do almost anything I want. And Harper knew this. Now when he got elected, he has a 5-year term. That means he's government for 5 years. He's not stupid. He's a very smart guy. Never underestimate the Conservatives. They're very smart. He's putting together this omnibus bill and the one prior to that, and he's got a whole bunch more legislation he's bringing in. And he's going to get every piece of that passed in government into law. Everyone, he will get it. Why? Because he has the majority. And the 40% of people who stayed home gave him that majority. So, but voting is just one piece of the puzzle. It's just one piece. The other thing around Mr. Harper, well, I could go on a lot. I spent a lot of time studying politics.
Is it important for others to know that Harper is also from Alberta originally?
Alberta.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Former Reform member.
Okay.
Well, how does it work now? The Conservative Reform Alliance Progressives Party? I think that's what they call them. But yes, he was. And you can actually do your research on Harper. Now, I could sit here and really take down Harper, and Harper's done a lot of things. He's canceled government on 2 occasions prior. Yeah?
Okay, I know there's a lot of garbage we could talk about Harper, but I've heard some things about Teresa Spence as well. Some of her misrepresentation of spending money. Now, like, how is that partial to what we're talking about?
Let's go there.
Like, I just thought I'd throw that in there since you're talking.
100%. I want to go there. But let me finish with Harper. I'm almost finished. I could do this for hours about Harper. But let me tell you something. Don't just point your fingers at Harper. Because every Canadian government, we only had 2 parties that ever got government in Canada at the federal level. The Liberals and the Conservatives. Every one of them have tried to assimilate us. So it's not just Harper, it's the system. It's the Indian Act. It's about eliminating Indians and lands reserved for Indians. That's it. Getting Chief Spence. For those of you that don't know, the Idle No More movement was actually created by 4 women from Saskatchewan. And these 4 women, I think they were all lawyers, 1 non-native and 3 native. And they were so upset around the omnibus bill, taking away all the protections for the water, for the environment, making it easy for our lands, our on-reserve lands, to be taken away and put on what we call fee simple title for investment, all this stuff. They were so mad. So
fee simple meaning?
Fee simple title? Fee simple title is what the Canadian state has always tried to do. That's where an individual, me or you or any one of us, you get a piece of land and that's your land. And that's what they're trying to do right now. Is they're trying to say, you're a status Indian, you're allowed to have your little piece of land and that's yours. And you can use for equity, that you can use to take to the bank and get money and all this kind of stuff. But what they don't tell you is that once you own that piece of property under fee simple title, if you make a bad business deal, you can get sued, lose your house, and lose your land. So the role has always been to try to move us over to fee simple. But as Indigenous peoples, the land cannot be sold. You can't sell the land. The land belongs to future generations. That's our philosophy. So that's the big issue. Individual ownership versus it's everybody's. We all have a responsibility to protect it. Harper's bills are all about individual ownership and fee simple title. Spence, Chief Spence. But I have to go back to the I Don't Know More women. Because when they did a couple, like this, they did a teach-in. They were talking about the omnibus bill.
What is the omnibus?
The omnibus bill, and I've only got 5 copies here, and anybody who wants them, I'll give it to you. And you can get, and this is written by Russell Diablo. It's brilliant. It talks about all the details. But the omnibus bill, normally when you have a bill, if I'm the government, I'm going to bring a bill before the House of Commons, and then people will look at the bill, the opposition will look at the bill, you'll debate the bill, and then you vote on it, and then the bill will go through 3 votes, and then it goes to the Senate, and then the Senate will ratify it, and then it becomes law. But what Harper is doing is he's taken the budget bill, which he has to bring, And then he's thrown in a whole bunch of other bills into this omnibus. That's why they call it omnibus. So it's not just the budget now. Now it's a 400-page document with a whole bunch of amendments to a whole bunch of other laws. So if we're in the House of Commons, if we are, all of us, right? And let's say I'm your leader, you're one of the members of Parliament with my party, the chances are you haven't even read 2 pages of that document. You've just given it and you said, this is what you're voting for. They have a party vote, and that's their job, is to make you vote for that. And if you don't vote for it, then I'm going to have you removed from, this happens all the time. Anyways, back to the 4 ladies. They had a circle like this. And they started to educate people, and then what happened was it got picked up by social media. And then it went wildfire across Canada. Now, that happened first. And it was after that that Chief Spence from Athabasca, I can't say it, First Nation. We all heard about her, or many of us heard about her before, when there was a housing crisis. It's way up in the north, it's freezing cold. There's not money. The government said there's a lot of money. They spent $90 million up there for housing and all this kind of stuff. The media shared that. And that got national news. But nothing happened. Nothing happened. I think there was a state of emergency, it was called by the chiefs up there, and nothing happened by Harper government. So it was after the I Don't Know More movement took place that Chief Spence decided to have a hunger strike. And she put conditions. I'm going to go as a chief. I'm going to go on a hunger strike. And I'm going to go to Ottawa, where she is right now. And I'm going to have this hunger strike on this little island. It's called Victoria Island. It's right beside, the Parliament buildings are right here, and there's a little island over here. And so that's where she is right now in the TV, and her supporters. And she said, I am going to go on a hunger strike because I want a meeting between the Prime Minister of Canada, Harper, the chiefs, and the Governor-General. And the Governor-General is the representative of the Queen of England. So she wanted those 3 groups to meet, to talk about our treaties, but also to talk about, because most of the people in this room are the West Coast, right? Almost everyone in this room is, well, most of the West Coast. But most of British Columbia, as they call it, has never been ceded. It's never been treaty. It's never been given away. We've never been defeated by anyone. None of us. There's a few small treaties. I'm actually come from one of them on southern Vancouver Island. They're called budget treaties. They're very small. Nisga's got a treaty today. Sawasan has one, but that's another issue. We can talk about that. We need not.
Nishka?
The Nisga, yeah. Now, the key thing, this is really important, and I'm sort of jumping on you here, but this is really important. You've all heard of the Canadian Constitution, not? Canadian Constitution? Well, if you look at the Canadian Constitution, it's the highest law of Canada. It's the highest law. That means that if I'm a government party and you're in the opposition, you and I have to abide by the Constitution, and we make laws according to, that they're consistent with the Constitution. That's how it works. Canada's Constitution, try to keep this, Canada's Constitution actually came into, Canada, Britain, what they call the British North America Act, came in when Canada was formed, 1867. We had revisions when Canada, what they call repatriated the Constitution in 1982. And in that debate in 1982, or well before then, our leaders from the Native Council of Canada, the Assembly of First Nations, I think they were called then, maybe they weren't, maybe there was a little bit of brotherhood, they and the Métis got our